searching for the. Keep your finger on the pulse, you'll figure it. I'm sick of it, oh, so sick of it. You can find me in the jungle. Watch your feet, or you must stumble. Hey, Howard.
Hello, Jay. How you doing, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great, man. Thanks very much for speaking to me. Thanks for the patience. It's taken us a while to sort it all out. I appreciate the time, man.
No worries. I know how it can be, so it's all good. I'm just glad we could eventually get on.
Yeah, no, I'm glad that I'm glad you're back, because I didn't even realize you had a new single until I just kind of found it on Spotify. Well, Spotify warned me on the on the radar song, so I just realized you got a new song, because it's like you haven't been around for a while. I mean, the first song that I discovered you with was, I think it was "Have It All" back in 2020.
Oh no, yeah, yeah.
So then I think you released another single after that. Was it?
Yeah, I think it would have been "Know You," maybe.
Yeah, and then it kind of things went quiet on the Western Front a little bit, and then all of a sudden you released this single now. So what have you been up to since then? It's kind of like 12 months since the last release, and then wait, someone, hang on a sec, Tyler's.
Yeah, that's it. Tyler is joining. Sorry, I should have said. Yeah.
No, sorry, I wasn't sure it was popping on.
Yeah, this is it now. So it should be just us two.
Hey Tyler, how you doing, sir? You all right, mate?
I'm good, thank you.
Thanks very much for joining. No, sorry, yeah, I was just asking Jay all about kind of. I was telling him how I discovered you back in 2020 when you released "Have It All," and then kind of there was a couple of singles came out then, and then there was a break. And then the last single was about just under 12 months ago. And then you released this one I didn't even realize, and it just Spotify kind of put it on my radar. So that was cool to find you back. So I was just wanted to know what happened that kind of those 12 months. Did you decide to take a break because of kind of lockdown and kind of not being able to tour and things like that, or did you kind of, was it a decisive moment for you to decide you want to kind of sit down, write some new songs, and get into the studio? What was the reason for this kind of 12-month hiatus?
The original one was definitely because of COVID. We just we've always been such a live band, and the fact that we couldn't play live, we just thought, you know what, we're just gonna take a pause. We're gonna focus on writing and kind of like planning out what we want to do over the next kind of 2 or 3 years. And then we came back from lockdown. We released Naturally, which was just under a year ago.
February 2021.
I think it was February, yeah, that's it. But yeah, and we toured that as well. So that was like the first time we've been playing shows in probably like 2 years or so, wasn't it, Ty? Something crazy like that.
That's right, yeah.
Had like an amazing tour, really like reinvigorated like our just love for like doing the band and like putting music out. So then what we did is we decided what we're going to do is we're going to go away and we're going to literally write and record and plan the next kind of 2 years of our existence. And unfortunately, it did mean that we had like such a big gap in releases, but we just thought, you know what, we really want to get this right. And really fortunately as well, we got Fierce Panda on board.
I was going to say congratulations on that, because I've seen you're collaborating with them now as well. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I guess that was another one of the reasons. It's like originally we were going to put something out in like October, November last year. But then like Fierce Panda came on board and like they wanted to sit down with us and like properly plan it out, and we really start firing the cylinders basically in 2023, which is what we've started and what hopefully is going to happen.
Yeah. And how did the whole Fierce Panda collaboration come about? Because I know that you did a free gig. Is it Pandemonium, the free gigs that they hold? Was that something was that how that came about, or was it prior to that?
No, I guess we've actually been working with Chris for a few years now on like a sort of PR level. So Chris has done some radio plugging for us and a little bit of that. And then just eventually I just said, hey, do you want to come to a show? And he came down and saw us play. We sent him what we've been working on, and I guess they liked it enough to sort of want to be more involved, which was nice.
It's more than nice. Yeah, it's brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's great. But also, I mean, like I said, this new single, the sound just took me by surprise. Not because I didn't expect, not because of the sound, but I just didn't expect it. I wasn't aware that it was coming out, so I just kind of put it on my telephone And I was sat with my son, and he's literally, my son's had it on repeat play ever since it came
Oh,
out. He's
they
not a
love
big
it.
music fan, but it's just so catchy. He's just had it. He's just like, okay, Google manatees, manatees. So he loves
Oh,
it.
great. Oh, that's
So it's
nice to
fantastic.
hear.
But
That's
at the
great.
same time, that took me by surprise. But what something else that took me by surprise was the fact that it's quite a different sound. I mean, it's still kind of got the manatees trademark sound to it, but there's something different about it. Is that something to do with you making a kind of conscious decision, or was that something maybe you got a new producer on board? How did that come about, this new sound?
I think, do you know what? Honestly, we've been around as a band for a while now. Like we've been going for like 4 or 5 years, and I think over those years we've evolved so much. And I think like we've only just kind of with the sound, and I think naturally was like get just about there as well. Like found our sound,
Right.
and yeah, I guess that's it. I guess we've kind of finally landed in a place that we're like really content with what we're creating. And I think a big part of that was actually just letting our influences run wild. Like we've all got quite like different influences and like loves in terms of like what we cherry pick from music. So like, Miller loves funk, and he loves soul, and I think that's gonna really come across in like the next sort of releases, like especially the sound. It's got like a very like funk driven like verse bass line in particular.
Yeah, it's definitely the last couple of sorry to interrupt you, but like, yeah, the last couple sort
No,
of
no,
two or three
please.
releases have definitely, you can feel kind of a funkier influence kind
Yeah.
of bleeding into the sound. Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, and I think like that match with like I'm like a sucker for like 90s hip hop. So like I think like I love like those sort of like crashy drum beats and kind of like again kind of like funky hip hoppy drum beats. And I think like that matched with the bass lines, and then matched with like the trademark of like Tyler's guitars, which is like from the more like, alternative background. I think it just like all kind of comes together to create something a bit different, but something that we're like totally proud of, because it's got like such different influences. And we're not doing anything crazy. It's still like alternative rock,
Yeah.
but I think it is like more interesting than the stuff that we've put out before. And hopefully something that's just going to continue to develop.
Yeah. I mean, talking of kind of the progression of the sound, bands like the Arctic Monkeys, I mean, they're still doing really well, but for me, I still prefer their earlier albums. And do you find yourself wanting to progress, but at the same time, kind of curb your enthusiasm a little bit to kind of keep it the same sound? Because I mean, the Arctic Monkeys are still great, but they don't really sound like they did when they were like back in their heyday, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's really weird. I think before we definitely were a little bit erratic in what we wanted to do. So I think by single to single, we sort of ran around, sort of picking our favorite bits at the moment and the time, and we never really sort of had any time to sort of just sit down and think about what we wanted to be. And I think with this project, hopefully, like it will transpose to like everybody else, but we've sort of picked out our few, probably 4 or 5 favorite things and put them all in like all of the songs. And I
Right.
think hopefully that will sort of define it a bit better. Um, like synthesizers and like hip hop drum beats and like funk bass lines. I love playing delay guitar parts, and I think that's all that's all through the whole EP, and also the rest of the projects that we've got coming up. So hopefully that will sort of show what we're sort of about.
Right. I mean, you talk about this hip hop beats and things like that. Do they come first in some of the tunes, or do you play kind of the indie rock music first, and then this hip hop stuff and all these funky beats kind of you add those afterwards and see what works best? How does it go? How does it all work?
I think for this project, it was kind of like a lot of the time the beats would come first. I use this great like sampling software called Splice, and it's just like basically a database of like royalty-free samples essentially. And so I think a lot of the time I'll drag in, because I mean none of the immediate band, none of us are actually drummers. We've
Right.
got an amazing session drummer called Joe who comes on tour with us and plays all the shows with us, and now he's kind of become like a permanent fixture. But in terms of like the writing and stuff, it's Tyler, myself, and Miller. And none of us are drummers. We're a bassist and guitarist and singers. So like I think so that's where the splice thing came into like consideration, is I just get like a finished kind of drum loop like a sample, and just drag it into a project, and then I would just start playing like guitar parts, or like, you know, riffing like vocal melodies over it, and not with the intention of them even like the drum parts even staying, because like I knew we were going to re-record everything. But in the end, a lot of these kind of original like hip hop samples actually stayed and have made their way like into the EP, and have like formulated the sounds of the whole project. So I think it is sometimes the beats that come first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I mean, you mentioned that the EP, which is what was it called again? Dream in Color, no? The EP, which is out. I imagine it's out sometime in April, because I know you've got a tour. There's a few tour dates that you dropped just recently, no? So I imagine that, is that the full EP, or are you going to drop another single around April time and then promote that with a tour? How's it going to? Well, what can you let us know sort of at the moment?
So there will be a single in February, and then there will be the EP in April, which is another 2 tracks. So yeah, lots of, probably it's going to be our most songs we've ever released in a year, definitely.
And like you said, is it going to be very adventurous, very kind of, the 4 songs will be very different, or will they be fairly closely related sonically?
I think sonically they share a lot of the elements, but I think something that we've always done and will always continue to do is we do like songs having distinction between each other. So, you know, like I think a pet peeve of ours has always been like bands that release like an album or an EP, and like 3 or 4 of the tracks all sound pretty much identical. We really love distinction between songs, and I think that comes a lot from just like the core of the song, but also like what just like little things that we decide to do with it. And I hope with this EP, obviously we're on the inside, so it's a bit hard to say, but I hope people do find a real distinction between the songs, and people can like you know, like love each song for their difference. But I hope that it feels, and to us it definitely feels like a well-rounded project, and that they all work together.
I imagine because of the lockdown and everything, I imagine you haven't really been able to play most of this stuff live. It's all kind of stuff that you've done in your basement or your garage or wherever you record it now. So that must be quite daunting. I mean, it must help you to kind of get really experimental. It must be quite daunting at the same time to think, bloody hell, how's this going to translate first when we release it on Spotify or wherever, and then when we take it on tour, no?
It's been really strange. I think we didn't play a lot of the songs together in the writing phase. We sort of all locked ourselves away in our individual rooms and cities or wherever we were at the time, and sort of added our parts and stuff. I think we and then once we pulled it together to the live, I think it gave the songs like a new lease actually, and I think it was actually quite refreshing, and it felt really exciting to us, I think. Especially when you hear a live drummer bashing the beats, I think that really gives you excitement, you know.
Yeah,
but is it easy for you to take it onto stage, because you said that none of you are actually drummers? So when you do actually you have played a few live gigs quite recently, is it quite easy for you to take these songs that were recorded with like hip hop beats and these kind of things? Is it easy to kind of take it onto stage and get someone to play for you?
Yeah, it's become a lot easier. Do you know what? When we did our first like lot of writing in lockdown, and we came to rehearse, we had kind of just like written stuff that was like we found really hard to play live. But I think as we like developed, and as like because these songs we've kind of left behind now, and I think like it was kind of like a learning process for us. It was like, okay, these sound great on the record, but maybe they're going to be not so like well translated live. And then I think we found like a really nice medium just like within the last kind of 6 or 7 months. And luckily, like, because I guess we'd kind of forgotten about actually having to play them live and the live aspects, but now having gone back on tour and everything, it's kind of like, oh shit, yeah, we do actually have to consider that. And having now considered it, it's honestly been so much smoother. And like Tyler says, like even just hearing a live drummer like whack the skins is so satisfying.
Does that I mean, playing them live and kind of rehearsing them as well, I guess, does that have you second guessing what you've recorded, or maybe want to go back in the studio and record kind of a live version just for yourselves? Or for fans?
I don't think so. I think what it was, I think before we actually went into the studio, we rehearsed a few times and just sort of fleshed out a little bit together. And I think we sort of went, okay, right, this is what we need to do going forward. I mean, in my from my perspective, like I was playing way too complicated guitar parts and I couldn't actually sing backing vocals and play the part.
Right.
So I changed my parts a little bit to make them a bit more simple because I really wanted to be able to sing as well as play. So things like that, definitely from my parts and stuff, I changed. So, but the recordings and what we play live are pretty much the same, I'd say. With the exception to maybe a bridge or something there, maybe Jay needs to run over to a synth or Miller needs to run over to a synth or something like that. So
yeah,
I mean, sorry, I might mention that obviously maybe recording that live version for fans. Talking of the fans, how have you managed to kind of keep your fan base thriving, especially kind of like I said, you're not released a single for the past kind of 11 months or so. How have you managed to kind of keep busy, keep talking and keep kind of communicating with your fans and building a larger fan base?
I think tour was definitely a big part of that. So we released the single in February, but we actually didn't tour until kind of like March or April. So being able to like get into venues like on the ground, so to speak, with the fans was really important and really special for us actually. Like we hadn't played for like 2 or 3 years, I think, as we said before, and to know that there are people still there. And I think we sold out like 4 of the shows on the tour or something crazy like that, or there or thereabouts. It was definitely the best tour we've ever played. So to be able to come back from that after like a kind of like a forced hiatus was really great. And I think that was it. I think it was just connecting with those fans again, like actually in person. A big thing for us is we love to speak to people after the gigs. We always get down to like the merch table, and even if people aren't there to buy merch, we're just like having to chat with them. And I think that's been a really important bit about like keeping that community sort of thing, and just kind of like assuring people that there is music to come, which now they can have some satisfaction from as much as we do.
So I mean, like it's like you said, you've got a few gigs coming up. I think it's Bristol, London, Birmingham, and Manchester first. Now that you've said that you're going to be hitting first. Now, what can fans expect from the shows? Are you going to be playing a lot of the older stuff as well, or are you going to be focusing more on the new EP and maybe some other new stuff that you've not recorded yet, but that you're kind of considering recording and releasing sometime soon?
We'll definitely be playing EP. We'll be playing our catalog. That's pretty much on Spotify. And we'll probably throw in some surprises just to make it fun. We've developed sort of a new set, and we're hoping to like integrate that in. I think it's going to take a lot of rehearsing, but it'll be fun for sure. Because that's the thing as well. Like we did 19 gigs last year to sort of really work out what we wanted to be and how we wanted to sort of like bring ourselves to the crowd. And like this year is going to be another year where we kind of try and really step it up a level. And we've already spoke about it, and I think we already know what we want to do. So it's just implementing that now. So it will hopefully it'll be exciting.
I mean, so you mentioned that the EP with 4 tracks. Have you got an idea? Is there an inkling of an idea of a long player anytime soon? Is that your next intention or hope?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we want to do an LP and we want to do an album like, down the line, but when it is, we're not sure. I mean, I'd love to be able to do an album like it kind of in the next like couple of years. But at the moment it's just like, this is essentially the first EP we've ever done. Like we've literally just been releasing singles up until now. So to get this one out of the way first, I think, and then see what happens. I guess it's just like this is a really nice body of work, like these like 4 songs, and then we've got tracks to come afterwards as well, which will like tie us over. And like we recorded around the same time, but they just kind of didn't feel to sit quite as right as these 4 songs do together. So I think those will tie us over. So I think over the next kind of year and a half, we'll have hopefully about between 6 to 8 tracks out. and then maybe after that we can look at like a bigger project.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
then talking of albums, I mean, obviously 2022 just finished. What were your favorite albums out of last year? Was there any ones that you had on repeat play most of the year last year?
Ooh, I'm not gonna say, I'm gonna say it for you, Jay, but Jamie T's album was brilliant.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
That was a
yeah.
stonking album.
I'm a huge Jamie T fan, so having him release new music was amazing for me. Um, and I'm going to see him actually. I'm going to his not Hyde Park. What is it, Ty?
Finsbury Park.
Finsbury Park.
Right.
Finsbury Park gig in the summer, which would be amazing. Um, Little Sims album, the one the one actually I didn't. Yeah, well, she dropped one before Christmas, which I had like on repeat the whole time, which was amazing. I think she's insane. I got to see her live last year as well, and just incredible like rapper, incredible hip hop artist. Um, yeah, I don't know. What about you, Ty? Was there anything you had on repeat?
I've really enjoyed the Self Esteem project this year.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was released this year, but honestly, like the stuff that she came out with, like the alt pop beats, the sampling, the like genre mix was brilliant. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of different. Yeah, I was expecting kind of other kind of indie bands to come up there, but yeah, you're into all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's it.
guess
Like, it's like I said, we genuinely we all listen to so much, and we obviously we fucking love bands. I mean, that's what we do.
Yeah.
You know, we enjoy listening to. We don't want to like just kind of like echo chamber ourselves into indie music. We love listening
Yeah.
to all sorts, and I honestly think it makes our indie music better. Like having taking
Makes it stand out a bit. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. I'm like, and that's what I think something we just want to keep on doing is making our sound different and unique, because I think that there's a lot to be said for that, really.
And I think you're originally all, but is it all from South? Is it Southampton? You're all based. You're all based in Southampton, no? What about what's the music scene there? The indie music scene, particularly. What's it like there? Is there is there a good live circuit going there at the moment?
Yeah, so I mean, so originally we're from Southampton, and that's we all grew up together, literally like childhood friends. Tyler and I are actually now in London.
All right.
But going back to Southampton, yeah, it's great for like a small city. Honestly, it's really good. I mean, obviously you've got the Joiners, which is like a legendary venue. You've got the Heartbreakers, which is a bit smaller. That's kind of like 100 cap. Like you get like some touring artists going there that like can't quite do the tickets. Then you've got the Lofts, the 1865 engine rooms. Like there's quite a nice stepping stone hierarchy of like venues that you can circuit. Um, and we're kind of up to like the kind of like 400 cap now in Southampton, which is really
Right.
nice. We've worked our way right up, you know, from the bottom to kind of like the mid range now, and hopefully we'll just keep on going.
And what's the camaraderie like between the bands, in especially kind of in Southampton? Where I imagine you've made loads of friends there now. And what's the it's because like back in the 90s and kind of early 2000s when I was at university, there was a lot of disputes between a lot of the bands. Kind of, I'm better than yours, and all this. But there seems to be a lot more kind of camaraderie. There's a lot of camaraderie in Southampton now between the kind of the indie bands that are up and coming bands now at the moment.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, when we played this year, we played 3 shows in Southampton this year, and like every time we sort of tried to pick local bands to support and stuff, because I think it's like nice to just meet them and hang out. And there's a guy called Tom Millerchamp who's brilliant. He's just been on tour with Only the Poets, and he supported us in Southampton. He was brilliant. There was a band called Myriad who supported us there, and again they're really nice guys. And also Arcade Hearts, who are from they're from Portsmouth, but they supported us in Southampton. They've got a really good following there, and that was great as well. I think from us, it was just nice to sort of get back right into it and sort of meet everyone again, and sort of reintroduce ourselves in a way, and like just start hanging out and just having a drink or just playing a show together and stuff.
I mean, obviously, you say that you've got Bristol, London, Birmingham, Manchester as the first kind of 4 venues, but I imagine you've got quite a few coming after that as well. Now, I imagine it's going to be farther afield. Are you going to be going any farther afield than you have been so far? Maybe even a European
Yes.
tour, or
I don't think Europe's on the offing this April, to be honest. But we're always trying to expand as far up and down the country as possible and as wide. We've played gigs in Falmouth before, which were brilliant. So we definitely want to sort of try and spread ourselves across the country. It's just making sure we can, get the people down.
Brilliant. Well, listen, I don't want to keep you any longer. Sounds like you're getting pretty busy with your gigs and stuff. Congratulations on the single; it's fantastic. Like I said before, I've got my son playing it 24/7. So congratulations on that, and I wish you the best of luck with the tour. Hopefully, I get to see you at a gig sometime soon, and hope to speak to you again sometime soon about this new EP that's coming soon.
Yeah, thank you very much. There's always a ticket on the door at a gig if you fancy coming down. And,
much appreciated.
Yeah, thank you so much for listening and for letting your son listen as well. It means a lot.
That's brilliant. Well, thanks. Cheers. Thanks a lot again for your time, and take care. And I speak to you again soon, I hope.
Yeah, cheers, Howard.
All right, all the best. Take care then.
I'm sick of it, oh, so sick of it.